Hi there, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Ali O'Shea, and I'm here with Daniel Morel. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, Ellie. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Good, good. So, Daniel Morel has done the most exciting program, which he has named Cake to Steak, and he has lost an incredible amount of weight and is going to share his inspiring story with us today. So, Daniel, I'd like to first of all begin at the very beginning, as we do, and just ask you, how did your journey start for weight loss for you?
Well, I guess it started with, gaining weight without really noticing. I'd quit smoking and I was putting on the pounds slowly, but when it's slowly, you don't really realize it until one
Mm,
day I looked at myself in a picture and with my young daughter, and I realized that I was going the wrong way. I was putting on weight, it was slow. And at this point, I was getting joint pain. I was getting really uncomfortable with myself, and didn't like what I saw. So then I started the my first diet, Herbalife, those shakes. So I
okay,
started with that. It lasted a few months. Lost a few pounds. Didn't like it, so I stopped.
okay.
Waited a few months. Tried something else. Juicing. Did that for a bit. Awful. I stopped. So I got stuck in this loop for about 10 years, doing
Wow.
different diets or different programs for a few months, 1 or 2 months, getting some results, but hating my life so much that I would stop and then try something else.
Okay. That often happens, on different sort of, like we say in inverted commas, fad diets. So, how frustrating it can be for a lot of people these days that try those diets that perhaps you've tried, like Herbalife or doing juicing and things like that. And they get stuck in what we call as a yo-yo diet or a diet loop. So, how eventually then, Daniel, did you get yourself out of that diet loop?
Well, like I said, I was doing, one after the other. And then I found, I don't know, it was early 2018, late 17, the keto diet. That
Right.
was the new thing coming. So I said, okay, I'm going to do the keto diet. So it's the greatest thing. So a month, 2 month, 3 months into it, I realized this is not so bad. The food is kind of okay. So at that point, I was really encouraged because I was eating food that was not awful to eat.
Yeah.
Right? I had kind of the cheat feelings that sometimes I would do a pizza, cauliflower pizza, but that got me encouraged, and I was seeing good results for the first 3 months. Like the weight came off, I was not craving food anymore, and I just felt better. And
Right.
my inflammation started going down, the weight started coming down, so I felt really good at that point.
Wow. Okay. And then what happened? Like, what happened when you kept doing keto and then you kind of plateaued, didn't you?
Yeah, so like I said, the first 3 months came out fast. It was good. Then the next 2.5 months was very slow. So I lost over 20 pounds in 3 months, right?
Wow.
And then in the next two and a half, it was less than 10. And
Okay.
then 2 months later, I had nothing. And like the weight would go up and down. And I was looking for new lows, right? But I was stuck at that about 190 pounds. And for 2 months, it was there. I was not losing weight. Now, again, the food was okay. It was not great, but it was tolerable. But I was not getting any more results. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, what next? Am I going to quit again? I was kind of really scared because
Yeah.
I was on my way down, not nearly, well, I was close to where I wanted to be, but I didn't think I would reach it at that point.
Sure. It's very frustrating when that kind of thing happens. Um, so what kind of foods were you eating then on the keto?
I was doing a lot of, well, one, the typical eggs and bacon, right? So I was doing eggs in the morning with a protein. I did for lunch what I called my breakfast salad. huge salad with, again, eggs, some bacon, cheese, and all that. And at night,
Yum.
it was, different keto recipes. So like I say, at first I tried them all. Then I was dwindling down to just a few. Like I would do a keto pizza. I did a lot of almond bread for both burgers and toast and all that. Um, so it was kind of an okay food, but a lot of pain in the ass to make almond bread all the time. It was just, I would buy the almond flour, and if you don't use it fast enough, it goes bad. So,
Okay.
so I was eating okay food. Like I did zucchini spaghetti,
Oh, I've done that one.
and after eating zucchini spaghetti, you're feeling like I missed something. And of course, we missed the sugar that's in the pasta, right? Those carbs. That's what we
Mm.
want when we want pasta. It's not the sauce. So I kind of, was going away from those. And again, buying a zucchini, noodling it, and all that. It was a pain in the butt.
I've
And
got one of those machines. Did you get one of the machines?
yes, I spent a lot of money on bad food and stupid gadgets. Um, and I was getting stuck. So I was ready to quit. All right.
Right.
And then I had a random conversation with my brother and sister in law. We were at a casino where they work and just having a conversation about life in general. And they told me about uh, one person they knew who went carnivore diet, eating steaks only. That's it, steak and eggs. And that person, which I knew way back, was kind of big and lost all the weight doing that. And that got
Mhm.
my ears kind of perking. What do you mean
Sure.
eating steaks? Yeah, it's all he eats, steaks and eggs. I'm thinking, I love steaks. I love eggs.
Yeah.
I started to look into that, and I started reading books on that from a couple of doctors, Dr. Baker and Dr. Berry. Two doctors are, sharing the carnivore and um, the one meal a day kind of stuff. So that got me started beyond the keto.
Yeah. So that was your last piece of the puzzle, wasn't it? Intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Um, so where did you start with that? Did you just start then with sort of, I know you said carnivore and all of that, but for those who might not know, just explain a little bit more about the intermittent fasting and what you were able to eat, whether you felt hungry, all of those types of things.
Yeah. So the carnivore diet, you know, the purists say, steaks only. And then your people say, okay, you can add eggs. Some people say you can add cheese and all that. So I
Mm.
looked at it, and when I looked at the videos and the books that I read, it was basically to go to zero carbs for a period of time to fully detox from carb cravings. So on keto, I was eating a lot of food still. So that's why I was stuck. I was eating 3 meals a day plus a couple of keto snacks, and some of them were sweets. So my brain was still craving sweets a lot.
Sugar. Yeah.
And when I removed all the snacks first, the first thing to go, and I removed a lot of the carbs. So I stopped craving carbs completely. And when you have zero carbs, the body stops burning carbs completely, and we become what's called fat adapted, where we're burning fat, and the body transforms those fats into the sugars the body needs. So when people say our body needs sugar, yes, it does, but we can create it. We don't need to eat it.
Okay.
And that meant that you're not hungry all the time, you're not craving food. And I followed the plans in the books of first you cut breakfast, the first one to go. So you increase
Yeah.
the time that the body does not eat so it can consume body fat. And
Mhm.
then after a bit, and I was getting so much success. I loved eating steak and eggs. First it was 3 times a day, then twice a day, then I went to
Yeah.
one a day. Um, and I love the food.
I
Well,
love steak and eggs myself as well.
and
Yeah.
people said, didn't you get sick of it? This is 4 years later, and later today, I'm gonna have steak and eggs again.
Yeah.
So I've never got sick of it. It's not like eating, I don't know, maybe some rich foods you get sick of, but steak and eggs
Mhm.
didn't. So the weight came off, the cravings were gone, hunger pangs were gone, and I felt fantastic. So, like I said, that is the missing part for anybody who's stuck on keto, right? You know who you are, you're stuck. The body is not shedding the pounds anymore because we're eating a bit too much at that point. So we have to eat less to let the body eat body fat. That's what the body does when we're losing weight. We're consuming the fat that was stored, and that way the pounds come off.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's incredible how the body adapts so easily and quite quickly. So I wanted to ask you then, what, how much weight did you lose in total? That's got to be the burning question that everybody wants to know. How much did you lose in your initial period when you were doing keto? During your stall period, what happened weight loss wise, and then at the very end, your weight loss, and how long you've maintained that for?
Yeah. So I went slowly on keto, and the first 3 months was about 20 pounds. The next three was 10. So I was down about 30. And when I went on carnivore, the next 22, and I say the last 22
Yeah,
took about 8 weeks, about 2 months.
that's incredible.
And I was not trying. I was not doing anything. I was just going about my life, and every morning I'd get on the scale and I'd see new lows every second, third day, a new low of half a pound, and it fluctuates, right?
Hmm.
It's not a straight line down. It's a bit like the stock market. It goes up and down and all the way down.
Sure.
So over a period of a year, I got down to 175, which was at that time what I thought would be my ideal weight. Now I could lose a couple more pounds, but didn't want to or need to. And 3 years later, because that was 4 years ago when I started, 3 years later, I'm at 175. So that tells me that my body's happy there. I don't gain weight. I don't lose weight. I eat twice a day only. I'm never hungry in the morning. I usually eat around between 11 and noon, and then I have a dinner after that. I rarely snack. If I do, it's peanuts or chips. I don't crave ice cream. I have it once in a while, maybe once a month, maybe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Like a treat. Yeah.
and like an occasion. It's more if the occasion presents itself.
Sure.
I don't chase them, and it's like that. And I eat my favorite food. My favorite food is proteins and some vegetables. I don't like all of them. I eat
Yeah.
potatoes a lot. I eat Brussels sprouts and broccoli, asparagus. That's my sides. But it's meat: pork chops, wings, fish, shrimp. I
Can I ask you, Daniel, do you weigh any of your food?
no.
No.
My portions have gone down naturally because
Right.
on carbs I was always hungry, so I'd make bigger and bigger portions. But as I started to making food, especially on keto, I started making smaller portions because after you make a meal and you realize there's still a lot left, the portions go down. So that came naturally. And a steak and a side, that doesn't change. A pork chops and a side, a few wings. So the portions go down naturally.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
That's
don't have.
fantastic because, sometimes when people are stuck in a program or doing a program, they get fed up, don't they, of weighing things continuously or finding out how many this or that are in things. I wanted to ask you then, what, where did the name Cake to Steak come from? How does it all fit together? Well, I
Well,
know the steak part, obviously.
yes. Now I love to cook. I've always loved to cook since I was about 5 years old. I'd help my mom out in the kitchen and all that. And one day I was doing almond bread,
Mm,
and while I was doing that, I'm thinking basically I'm making a cake to replace bread. And I looked at all the ingredients for pasta, for bread, for all of these things. They're the exact same ingredients as cake.
mm.
So people say we should eat, healthy carbs or this or that. Yes, that's true. But bread is not healthy carbs. Pasta is that's basically the recipe for cake. flour, sugar, eggs, and water.
Yeah.
So it's moving away for me. It was moving away from all that cake, whether it was real cake, bread and pasta, or keto cake with almond flour and all that. I was making all that cake, and I
Yeah.
went to steak. And on the steak side, like I went full on steak, just that for a while. And people say it's not sustainable. I agree. For me, it was not, because I like other stuff and I want to have a more
Bit of a
enjoyable.
variety. Yeah.
Yeah. But do I need to have a 20, 30 item menu? No, I don't. I keep it simple. I eat my favorite food every day.
Yeah.
People
And
say,
that's important, I
yeah,
think. What's your favorite type of steak?
it's a New York strip,
Oh, yummy.
and I my favorite meal by far New York strip and shoestring potatoes like French fries, those little McDonald's style. Now, is it healthy? I don't care. I eat that every day, and I've done that for the last 3 years. I've not gained or lost a pound. I'm at a level I love. I saw my doctor 2 weeks ago, and sugars are good. Everything is good. Now, he told me your cholesterol is high. He's been telling me that for the last 20 years. And Dr. Barry and a few other Dr. Fung licensed doctors are saying it doesn't matter. Cholesterol is cholesterol. It's got nothing to do with the diet. Now, I don't know. I know enough that I
But
don't want.
you're feeling healthy and you're feeling well and you're looking healthy and you're looking well.
Yeah.
And so if that's the only number that's slightly elevated, I mean, it's probably because you're eating animal fats, but like we know doctors lie about certain things. So
And it went down. So over the last year, no, it's 2 years because of COVID last year. I didn't see my doctor last year. I saw him the year before. So over the last 2 years, I've been eating meat and eggs as like the main
yeah,
part. And my cholesterol went down. It's still high, but it went
yeah.
down. So it's not the food that's making go high or not. It's my, like some families have a high cholesterol history. Our family does. So
Yeah. And also it can fluctuate anyway, I was going to say with hormones, believe it or not.
absolutely. So yeah, like you say, it should not be a metric of everything. But 2 years, no. When I started in 2018, I did have a checkup with my doctor before we started, and he said, "Yeah, well, it's not a bad thing you're starting because you are pre-diabetic."
Right.
So my sugars at that point were starting to creep up, and
Hmm.
at that point he was starting to say, "Okay, you're gonna need cholesterol pills and you know insulin very soon." That's the one that got me scared, and
Yeah. You
doubling
don't want to
down.
go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I know earlier we were talking about, whether you had to weigh things or you didn't have to weigh things, but um, I was asking you before about the fact that there was a point system in this challenge that you have coming up. And I was wondering, what exactly is that? Would you mind explaining a little bit about that to us?
Okay. Well, before I do that, let's explain a bit of the challenge itself, right?
Sure, yeah, of course.
So when I looked back at my year of weight loss and I reflected on that, I said I could have done that in 12 weeks because getting the keto part done, right, takes about
Mm,
2 or 3 weeks to get used to it. So 4 weeks to get really adapted to keto, and then 4 more weeks to remove the excess carbs, and then adding intermittent fasting. So I created this 12-week program that takes people from cake to steak. So high carbs, high processed food, to eating natural food in a setting that people enjoy.
yeah,
And to do that, there's two things that need to change. One is how many carbs do we eat, and that's what varies the points. So we give a carb point to the food. So
okay.
if people want to reduce, they reduce that number, right, from 5
Mhm.
to 0. And when we go through the challenge and the point system, in detail, I explain that. But also how many times a day we eat. So 3 meals, 2 snacks, that's 5 times. So we give 5 points to that. And the goal there is the same thing, to lower the amount of food, or the amount of times we eat in a day. Not the amount of food, but If somebody eats 5 times a day, it's 5 points. If they eat once a day, it's a 1 point. So
Okay.
it kind of it gave me a way to kind of track everything, to monitor, am I going the right way? Because I started with a
Hmm.
lot of fives, and then I went to 4 and to 3 to 1. And going to 0 is meaning a full day of fast. I did that
Okay.
3 times over the last few years.
How did you find that?
You the body feels okay, but the mind screws up because we you think about food the whole day, you're not eating food. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the body, a little bit of gurgle maybe at 1, 2 p.m. Then it goes away. Then you realize, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed and I haven't had food. I don't feel bad. It makes a big difference. I see why so many people, and there's religions and other stuff that say fasting is good for the body, right? Removes toxins. It does all kinds of things. For me, I liked it. I'm not taking a habit of it, but just for me, just keeping to 2 meals a day is
It's what's working for you.
what's working for me. Because at this point, I'm where I'm at the end. I'm in maintenance for the rest of my life, eating fantastic food and not worrying about weight loss anymore. It's
That's incredible. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's good. It all makes so much sense. And you're so right. I mean, intermittent fasting and, doing fasts for a certain number of hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, goes back as far as biblical times.
yes.
So that's such a good point as well. So this challenge is very exciting that is coming up. So um, is there anything else that you want to add before we go on to talking a little bit more about the challenge? Or will we just talk about the challenge now?
I think it's good unless you have a question that's still on your mind,
I
right?
think
Well,
I think I'm good.
yes, and one thing that I realized too is that we make stories up in our head before we start anything. We're thinking ahead. It says, well, if I start this, what's going to happen? If I have a wedding, if I have a vacation, if there's a party at work, what if Christmas, right?
Yeah, because
So
life happens.
life happens, and to that I say, take a deep breath. It's going to happen, and we go through it. Some go through it better than others. I went on a vacation and I lost weight because during that vacation I stuck to what I really love, which was meat, and there was opportunity to eat a lot of other stuff, but you know, I was in a place right now that weight loss was more important. Eating my favorite food was more important. So
Yeah,
I was afraid of going on vacation. What will happen? What when I came back? That was easy. That was fun.
yeah.
And then I went through Christmas on keto, which was good, which was fun.
That's amazing. Yeah,
New Year's Eve on keto, which is good, which is fun. I drank, I had champagne, I had a few beers. Next day, maybe had, gone up half a pound or something, but it goes away. So
yeah.
it
Just staying back on track of and keeping in control of it thereafter, I think, is probably what
yeah,
kept you going as well.
yeah. So the fears that people think are gonna happen, no need to worry about that. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I also think like when we see that weight starting to come down, it just gets really exciting, doesn't it? It
It
really
motivates.
does.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
it motivates me. I was tracking actions more than my weight. My goal every day was to stick to my plan. That was what I was tracking. But every morning I also step on the scale because I'm curious that way, right?
yeah,
And for me, it was just, can I see a new low? And some days I would see a two pound gain in the morning, and I wouldn't freak out. Body does what it does. It's all water or
yeah.
something. And then a few days later, a new low, up and down, up, 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 new low. So
Fluctuation, it's normal.
it
Yeah,
is normal.
for
It's going to
sure.
happen. So when you chase new lows, you just double down on everything we're doing. And
Yeah,
I like it because I never starved myself. Never had to say, well, I want to eat, but no. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm hungry. I look in the fridge, some cold steak. I'd have a few slices of that until dinner. And you don't feel guilt, you don't feel bad, um, and the process is so easy. We ease into it that there's no shock to the brain, right? I tried in the past to do some stuff like cold turkey. Yeah, no, that didn't work. You have to ease into it, go slowly. Body gets
Yeah.
used to it, get used to a routine, and look forward.
Amazing. That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. And I'm so excited about the challenge coming up. So, do you want to just tell people what's happening with this challenge? We're calling it Cake to Steak, right? The Cake to Steak 12-week challenge. And what do people need to do, or where can they sign up for it?
Okay, so like I said, we're doing a 12-week challenge because the structure is what keeps people involved, and we're
Mhm.
going to start that early December, the next one. So I want to make sure that we get everything ready for the challenge. So we're putting the final touches on everything. We want to make sure that people have everything they need, the recipes if they need, the help, the equipment, the tools. We're going to do as much as possible to for me to share everything I know and
Yes,
to also share experts. You know, when I talk about my feelings on cholesterol, I'm not qualified, but we can share the resources that I found that helped me make that
yes.
decision, that helped me clear that FUD, that fear, that uncertainty about all of that. So we're going to do that. We're going to have a process where it's easy for people to ask questions, to communicate, to encourage each other, to track what they eat, to help them with their shopping. So we're putting all of
That's
this
it.
together, and
Sorry, where is that going to be?
that's going to be in our challenge. And for people to pre-register right now, right? It's gocaketosteak.com.
Right.
So we'll have the sign up below this video. There'll be a button for that. Go to
Excellent.
caketosteak.com. There's no cost to pre-register and all that. We'll while we wait for the challenge, we'll send emails on what I ate, what I use, some interviews with doctors, some interviews about intermittent fasting, all that information before we get ready to start. And
Cool.
we can all start on December 1st. And for those, again, who are thinking dieting in December, we're not dieting. We're going to change our habits. When it comes down to Christmas, Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, all that stuff, you'll be able to make your own solution to that problem. You'll do keto Christmas like I did, which is enjoyable. You can get all the stuff we eat at Christmas. There can be a keto version that doesn't put 20 pounds on over the weekend, right? So again, people have the tendency of seeing bad stuff happens that never,
Sharing what will happen, yeah,
yeah, having this
during
that
occasion.
never really happens. So we can do that. And if people want to wait, there'll also be the New Year's challenge. But for the hardcore, for the ones who really want to have a great 2023, to do the December challenge, we'll get them ready to do the New Year's resolution stuff. While they're, when they start on January 1st, they'll have the practice. They'll know exactly what to do. They won't be a shock to the body. It'll be just another Monday, and they can go throughout the year and have change their lives in 2023, like I did, like many people did. We're
Yeah,
doing this. It's it helps the body, but not in how we look, but how we feel and how the body is. The excess of sugar is killing us,
yeah.
and
So for health wise, it's important for people's health as well as everything else to give this a go, you know? What have they got to lose except the pounds?
exactly, and they'll discover, like I do. I eat my favorite food. People
Yeah.
say, "Well, about this?" Well, that's your favorite food, right? So they say, "What about pasta? What about fish? What about?" For me, it's I'm indifferent, but I eat my favorite food. It's good for me, gets me the results I want. Now, when people ask me, "What do I eat?" Doesn't matter, but I'm glad to share it, and we're going to share all our tips. we're gonna get people step by step, day by day. You will know, people will know day by day what to do.
Yeah.
And that's the clarity people need to be able to get the results they want.
That sounds absolutely fantastic, Daniel. Well, I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I thank you for taking the time to talk to me and everybody else who's watching today.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope to see you all in the Cake to Steak Challenge. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.